maybe if someone would give us an example of what they've done to change their lesson, it might help. And then Leo had some ideas of some things that he has done that he would like to share with you. We were supposed to kind of work together on this one. Originally we were going to do RTI, but the more I got into RTI, I felt like really we'd covered, and I was just repeating myself. And then I went to this conference in January which talked about higher level thinking skills and how they relate to special ed especially, and then reading this book, they just kind of seem to fit together and make more sense of something that would be valuable for us to discuss and talk about than another lesson in RTI. And Leo says he has some things that he can share that he's done.
Yeah, so this is super condensed and a smaller version.
What website are you on?
This is, you just type in the Google search MARS, Mars, capital MARS, space tasks, and it's just the first one that pops up.
Can you maximize that window?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Inside Mathematics. .org, and they're one of the few resources that I've found that is starting to create tasks and little samples that relates to Common Core State Standards. And everything that Mike's talking about is at the Common Core State Standards, especially with math. It doesn't matter what grade they're at. When they do that assessment, the SBA, the Smarter Balanced Assessment, it assesses everything within one question. There's an 8th grade sample question that we did that will take kids 2 hours long. One question, one problem, I guess. It's not one question, it's one problem. And it's in 2 sessions, 2 one-hour sessions, and it deals with building a park. So they start off with just giving them small things, and they'll just say you have to build a park. It's in the shape of a trapezoid, and there's 3 paths, and they'll give them some of the measurements, but not all of them. They need to find the rest of the measurements. You have to say how far is the path, and then they give them 3 bids. And they say you are developing this park. You have 3 people who give you bids on the work that you want done. You need to determine which bid is the highest, and which bid is the lowest, and accept the lower bid. Then it says now you need to put benches in your park, and they have to be 25 yards along the path, at least every 25 yards. So now they have to determine how many benches they need. Then, it goes all the way to the end where they have to leave the park 45% undeveloped, and they need to choose through a survey 4 things at least that the society wants in their park, and they have to put in the park, and they only have 1.3 million to spend, but they have to keep it within this area so it doesn't take up the whole park. And it's a very complex, I guess, but within this problem, they deal with fractions, percentages, all the little things while they're doing this big project. And that's how they are going to be assessing our kids in mathematics. And a big part of that is that last piece, evaluation and synthesis, and those pieces. They can defend their answer, explain why they did what they did and how they did it. And it's a newer thing. We actually made a mistake on it as adults taking this 8th grade test, because it said you need to have 2 buildings with restrooms, 1 men's and 1 women's in each building. So when it came down to the restroom part of the bids, it said, how many restrooms do you need? Well, 4, 1 men's, 1 women's for each building. Well, they were thinking 1 restroom was a men's and a women's, was a building, is what the way it was, typed. But in our explanation, since we put that student justified their answer, it wouldn't be counted against them. Mm-hmm. So, believe it or not, some of these assessments are going to be people scored, not computer scored. Yet somehow the writing one's computer scored and not people scored. I don't know how they're juggling those things. But anyway, this is just a brief thing that gives you an example of a classroom assignment that you can do that's starting to relate to that. This is an 8th grade one. I was looking for one a little better than this, but it's fine. She has a hat made of a circle and these shapes. The rectangular strip is 24 inches long. 8 trapezoids fit together around the rectangular strip. Find the width of X and the base. So it's basic geometry right here. They should be able to figure that out, from some prior knowledge. And then when it gets down to see, this isn't a very good one, but it says, show your calculations. It's asking for work and giving them room. Most of these, I'm going to go back, have a section that says explain, or how did you do this, or you know, defend your answer by showing this, and you explain your reasoning clearly. Which of these 4 different offers give the biggest price reduction? You know, and it's putting things into words. Students aren't only gonna get equations and say solve the equation. They're doing more practical work-life problem-solving skills. The pendulum has swung away from fluency now back to that, you know, problem-solving stuff.